You're probably familiar with the famous skyscrapers of Shanghai, especially the Shanghai Tower. But do you know about Shanghai's past? Do you know what Shanghai means in Chinese? Can you guess the role opium played in the fate and development of this city? I doubt the term extraterritorial rings a bell. Yet this legal concept shaped Shanghai's destiny in the 19th century and led to many events and incidents here. Come with me to the Shanghai History Museum to get answers to these questions. Initially, online sources recommended buying tickets and reserving spots to visit the museum. Yet our in-person experience revealed a different truth. The museum is actually free to enter, and a reservation isn't necessary. The Shanghai History Museum was established in 1983 and underwent changes in its location and name over the decades until it was reopened in its current location in 2018. These two bronze lions were ordered in 1932 to decorate the entrance of a bank in Shanghai facing the bond area. They were moved to the museum in 1966. As you can see, the ground floor exhibition hall features a big LED screen and interactive electronic games about Shanghai. There is a fancy sedan chair in the lobby, which was made in 1927 for a merchant. Skilled wood carvers hired by the maker spent 10 years crafting it. The chair showcases many characters from Chinese opera, intricately designed in wood, painted glass, lacquer, and embroidery. In the Chinese language, Shang means up and Hai means sea, signifying up on the sea. It makes perfect sense if we know the city's history. In the past, Shanghai was close to the oceans and had many lakes and swamps, so people couldn't live there around 7,000 years ago. But as time passed, the coastline moved to the east. More dry land appeared, and it slowly became a good place for people to live. This name was first used in the 11th century. Through more than 80 years of archaeological studies in Shanghai, researchers have uncovered a collection of historical sites dating back 3,000 to 6,000 years. Based on this evidence, Shanghai, originally a small agricultural village, transformed into a city for the first time in 1291 and developed into one of China's major commercial ports during the late Qing dynasty from 1644 to 1912. This is the very first ivory stick from the Neolithic era found in Shanghai. It has intricate carvings on it and is decorated with valuable materials like jade and other precious substances. Despite my expectations, there were very few ancient artifacts in the museum. It mostly covers the last 100 years of Shanghai, starting from 1842 when the port opened up to 1943 when the communists took over. Moreover, some of the displayed objects weren't originals, instead well-made duplicates. The section of the museum you're seeing contains remnants from the 100-year period following the defeat in the Opium Wars from 1843 to 1946. It includes photographs, paintings, books, documents, contracts, office supplies, coins, currency, newspapers, magazines, furniture, clothing, and personal belongings of important figures from that era. This cannon was used in the Opium Wars. At that time, the demand for Chinese luxury goods, especially silk, porcelain, and tea, led to an imbalance of trade between China and Britain. To address this trade imbalance, the British East India Company began cultivating opium in Bengal and selling it to Chinese smugglers through private English merchants. This influx of drugs reversed China's trade surplus and increased the number of opium addicts. In 1839, the Chinese emperor rejected proposals to legalize opium trade and employed force by blockading Western merchants. British traders were forced to surrender more than 1,300,000 kilograms opium. The opium was publicly destroyed on the coast, and orders were issued to blockade foreign ships in the Pearl River. These events led to a series of prolonged tensions and eventually a 4-year war between Britain and China. The war ultimately concluded in favor of Britain. In 1842, China's defeat led to the signing of the Treaty of Nanjing. This resulted in the establishment of British settlements, the opening of 5 treaty ports including Shanghai to foreign merchants, and the British founding a base in Hong Kong. After the Treaty of Nanjing, China quickly made similar treaties with other Western countries. French, American, and German merchants also came to Shanghai to form their own residential areas, allowing them to have self-governing privileges and not to be subject to Chinese laws. Their enclaves were established to the north and south of the British area. In 1863, the American and British settlements were joined to create an international settlement in Shanghai, with its docks becoming the famous International Bond. Over the decades, international affairs were largely controlled by foreigners, and the British held the most council seats and headed all municipal departments. But what is extraterritoriality? Extraterritoriality comes about when laws are applied based on a person's nationality rather than their location. One common example is diplomatic extraterritoriality, where diplomats and their belongings follow the laws of their own country rather than the laws of the host country. In 1936, Shanghai was one of the world's largest cities with a population of 3 million people. Out of this number, only 35,000 to 50,000 were of European origin, but they had control over half of the city due to extraterritoriality rights. In 1943, Extraterritorial rights in the foreign settlements were officially abolished and full control of Shanghai was returned to China. The museum also contains photos and images related to Jewish refugees who arrived in Shanghai in the 1930s, escaping from Nazi Germany. I wanted to know what Shanghai was like before it turned into a skyscraper forest, but I couldn't find the answer here. I did some research and found out that the Shanghai Museum collection includes over 30,000 items, but not all of them are here. Some are in more specialized museums, some are in temporary exhibitions, and many of them have been placed in a permanent exhibition at the base of the Oriental Pearl TV tower since 2001. So, I guess I need to visit other museums as well. You know, I visited this museum expecting a feast of history, but it felt more like a tiny snack, of course free of charge.